Now, as many of you already know, that the European Commission is planning to impose tariffs of up to 38.1% onto the Chinese EV maker. Ladies and gents, we have seen, of course, comments coming from EV makers against this whole notion, which is something that in general they are not for it. They want, of course, fair trade. They want, of course, fair competition, because the way the European Commission is doing, it looks like they are scared of what Chinese EV makers could do to the German, of course, car producers. Now, you will know that the new CEO came immediately after the EU Commission announced these provisionally approved tariffs of up to 38.1%, and said that this is not a good move because it hinders fair competition. This is something that the new CEO has always been stressing, even in China. And that is to say that they need to be fair competition. People need not to fight amongst each other, or EV companies not need to fight amongst each other, but they just need to be fair competition. And that means that people just need to, that they just have to produce cars and advance their cars, so that at the end of the day they get the customers. Now, with that, today we just read that apparently yesterday the EV makers or Chinese EV makers had a meeting which resulted in them proposing to the Chinese government that tariffs of around 25% should be imposed on all European car makers, which is not good, because this will hurt the European car makers than the Chinese EV makers. I mean, imagine how many vehicles is BMW selling in China. I'm talking about gas and EVs. Well, for EV cars alone, we know that BMW sold over 8,000, which they won't be impacted because these 25% tariffs that the EV makers are proposing, it's on the cars with big engines, or on the European cars with big engines, which it goes to your BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, which those cars are going to face a serious hit, or are going to witness a serious hit from this. Because guess what? Though these cars are selling EV cars in China, like BMW sold over 8,000 in May, most of their sales are still gas cars. They are still selling a lot and lots of gas cars in China, and of which, if China is to retaliate by this proposal made by Chinese EV makers, probably including NIO, they will really lose a lot of revenues, because, like I said, most cars, China is one of the places where these cars are selling lots and lots of cars on a month to month. So this is not good, and I think it is time that the European Commission sits down and re-evaluate these provisionally approved tariffs, because it will hurt more European car makers than Chinese EV makers. I mean, how many cars is NIO selling in Europe, or in total on a month to month? It's less than 500. But how many is BMW, how many is Mercedes-Benz and Audi are selling on a month to month of their gas cars in China? The numbers are a lot, and which therefore means that countries that are going to be heavily hit are the European countries. But when talking about European countries, you'll know that a country like Norway has already came out and said they don't want to participate. They think these tariffs are uncalled for, and therefore they don't support this notion, which is something that I suppose it's pretty exciting, because especially for NIO, a country where they are selling most EV cars as it stands in their 5 European countries is Norway, and to see Norway was not participating, like I said last week, it is a good thing, right? So this could really hurt the European car producers or car makers. In fact, even I remember Mercedes-Benz, CEO of Mercedes-Benz has said a couple of months ago, before this notion, to say that increasing tariffs on Chinese EV cars will be a mistake from the European Commissions or from Europe, because he realizes the kind of benefit, or the kind of benefits that these European car producers are getting from the Chinese market. So if European Commission is to continue with this tariff increase onto the Chinese automakers, ladies and gents, we are going to see China retaliating, and it will not be good. And let me tell you something, I think these EV makers or Chinese EV makers are really smart, because they did not say tariffs must be imposed on EV cars, but they are saying on gas cars, because they are realizing that these European car makers, they are making most of their monies from, of course, these gas cars, though Chinese EV makers are starting to steal competition from the European car producers, but they are still generating some good amount of money from these gas cars, which therefore it makes sense that they punish them, or the tariffs comes on the gas cars, which are the ones that are generating the most of the money, because on the EV side of the business, they know the European car producers, they can't compete with China. They cannot compete with NIO. They cannot compete with other, of course, EV producers like BYD. I mean, this, when I read this, I was like, hold on, I just wish the European Commission sees the risk of them continuing imposing the tariffs into the Chinese EV makers that are selling in Europe. So 4th of July, apparently, according to the EU Commission, is the day that if there is no conclusion, or if there is no resolution on this matter with them, together with the Chinese authorities, then the tariffs are going to start from the 4th of July going forward, which, I mean, we just have to wait, or we just have to see how it unfolds. But like I say, I think it is a bad choice for EU Commission to come and will try to want to impose these tariffs, because the people that are going to be hurt the most, or the car producers that are going to be hurt the most, are the European car producers, because like I said, Chinese EV makers are not selling that much in Europe as it stands, and therefore to know that these European car producers are selling lots and lots of cars in China, it will definitely hurt them if this 25% tariff increase is to be implemented by the Chinese authorities. Otherwise, tell me what you think about the whole story. I think this, to me, it's a sort of like bullish, because even if European Commission continues imposing the tariffs from the 4th of July, then China will retaliate with the 25% as it is proposed, or even more, and that will be good news to EV producers or EV companies like NIO, because then their cars will be too expensive and people will end up coming to luxury brands like NIO, and we'll see NIO doing so well in China. Orders are going to come like crazy, because imagine if those big engines, Mercedes-Benz, BMW cars are not selling well. It means that the numbers will be going to other alternatives, or to other premium cars, or like NIO, which is something that I suppose it is a decent and it is a pretty good thing for NIO. So I look forward. I want to see how this whole thing transpires, but I'll be keeping a close eye, or we all need to keep a close eye onto this thing. But honestly, what I want is for tariffs not to obviously be imposed by the European Commission, and China not retaliating, because this just kills, as per the NIO CEO has been saying, the fair competition that is supposed to be in the car industry. Yeah, I hope for the best, and I just thought I'd just give you this quick updates. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the likes button, comment, and subscribe. And once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click that notification bell, so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. And before you buy NIO stock for the very first time, it is always good that you do your own DD, so that at least you can be comfortable as you are investing onto this stock. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.